you know, sometimes you have characters and they're on their own and you don't really know what to do with them. They don't really have anyone to talk to, they don't really have anything to do, and from the outside, I guess if you look at someone from the outside and they're just on their own, they're not talking to anyone, they're not doing anything, it's not going to be that interesting, you would think. But as a storyteller and an artist, these are very, very good opportunities to get to know your character and what's going on inside your character. You don't have to show and you don't have to tell the story of what's going on the outside, where they're just sat doing nothing, not saying anything, or walking down the street on their own, not saying anything. You can actually take a look inside what's going on inside their mind. And this is the thing, people are very, very complex. And from the outside, you don't necessarily get to see that. But from the inside, from a subjective point of view, there's a lot going on up here. And certain people will know that. Certain people's minds just don't stop. And it's the content of those sorts of things that haunt you when you're on your own really come to the surface when you're on your own. Everyone has built into them, unless there's something wrong with you, the potential to grieve, the potential to be angry, frustrated, worried, the potential to be curious, and the potential to be driven to do stuff. And all of this stuff is always brewing on inside of you, but when you're alone it comes to the surface because you're not focused on the outside, you're focused on the inside. So these things that you grieve or that frustrate you or that worry you or tasks that you need to get done and all of that sort of stuff comes to the surface, and you start to talk to yourself, or you start to see things around you that remind you of things that you grieve about, or things that frustrate you, or things that you need to get done, or worries, you know, those sorts of things. And I guess this is a sort of card, this is a card in the storyteller deck that I've made that represents these sorts of scenarios. When you're on your own, well, I guess what situations occupy a person's mind? Because you can think of it as like in a metaphorical sense, these are the spirits that haunt us. Fantasies, regrets, ways forward, confusions, grief, concerns, tasks and goals, and irritations. And so I guess you can use this card to remind yourself that when characters are on their own, there's still a lot going on. You just have to shift the perspective from an external point of view to the internal point of view. And then when you do that, this whole new world opens up and you get to see the world from your character's point of view. And it can be messy and frustrating and intense and stressful, even when they're on their own, when there's nothing going on around them. All of that is brewing up to the surface, and you talk to these spirits, metaphorically. You see manifestations of these things that come up to the surface around you. You remember, I guess, things in the past that frustrate you or piss you off or make you grieve, and you also think towards the future, and all of this comes to the surface. So it's just something to remember, and something. Stop, Joe, just stop. Just stop. I've said everything I need to say. See ya.